I know that I never made a Penn State or a Maryland video after those games were over, but just never got around to doing it. I never made an Indiana video either, so I apologize for not making a video on those three games. We did win all those games, beat Indiana 29-7. We beat Penn State 21-17, and then we beat, of course, Maryland on Saturday 59-18. Um, this video isn't about those three games. This video is about Ohio State and what they've been able to do, because we have a Michigan-Ohio State in Ann Arbor on November 27th that is for all the marbles. Legitimately, it's all for them, all for the marbles. This is going to be likely a top 5 matchup. This is going to be a top 5 matchup. As they're recording this video, they haven't released college football playoff rankings yet. They usually do on Tuesday. But my guess is that Ohio State's going to jump Alabama and take that number 2 spot in the playoffs. Michigan will likely go up to number 5. This is going to be a huge game, hugely broadcasted, watched by a lot of people. Number 2 Ohio State versus number 5 Michigan in Ann Arbor. For all the marbles. Both teams are 10-1. Ohio State with a loss to Oregon in week 2, and Michigan with that week 8 or 7 loss to Michigan State. let me tell you one of the main reasons why I don't think we're going to win this game, and it's not just because of previous years and me saying, I don't think we're ever going to win until we prove it. But just look at what Ohio State has done lately. That team that lost to Oregon in week 2 is not the same Ohio State team now. This Ohio State team, I believe, would honestly beat the crap out of Oregon now. And I think that was proven. By the way, Oregon just got absolutely manhandled by Utah on Saturday night, 38-7, something ridiculous. Oregon's out. They have 2 losses now. They had that close overtime loss to Stanford. Now they have this beat down to Utah. Oregon's out of the playoff picture as far as I'm concerned. And Ohio State is going to jump them. I know they gave Oregon the benefit of the doubt for all those weeks because, they had beaten Ohio State, but this is clearly not the same Ohio State team and clearly not the same Oregon team. Here's another reason why I don't think we'll win. You see the way they just manhandled Michigan State on Saturday? Like they meant nothing, like they were just another garbage Big Ten opponent. By the way, I'm sorry about my hair, it's crazy, I need a haircut. This is the same Michigan State team that Michigan struggled against not that long ago. You see, unlike Ohio State, I don't think that Michigan is really a different team from that Michigan State loss. Now, you could argue, Michigan is still the much better team over Michigan State. A lot of blown calls, a lot of mistakes that we shouldn't have made. And you got to remember, at one point we had a 30-14 lead. And for those reasons, you could say, yeah, we're the better team. And and even the Big Ten acknowledged it. Now, I'm not making excuses. I still fully acknowledge Michigan State beat us, and they should take full ownership of that win. It doesn't matter if they won because they put up a good game or if they won because we just didn't execute correctly when we really needed to. Regardless, we lost that game, and there's nothing we can do about it, and Michigan State has that on us. Now, we're coming into the last week of the season, and if Michigan wins somehow beats Ohio State on Saturday, that Michigan State loss means nothing. It really doesn't mean anything anyway, but now, because Michigan State just lost their second game in conference play, they lost to Purdue, and they really couldn't afford to lose to Purdue, and now they've lost to Ohio State, and it's just, you can't afford to do stuff like that. But anyways, I think there's a point that I never finished. But anyway, I'm going to move on. Um, Ohio State and Michigan, I feel like they're two different teams. When it comes to talent, I think Ohio State, and I'm not saying Michigan's not a great team. We are a very good team this year. Can't deny it. We are a very, very good football team. We execute very well. We don't we don't turn the ball over a whole lot. We barely turn the ball over at all this year, which is great. Now that I say that, we'll have like 6 fumbles and 5 interceptions against Ohio State. I'm kidding, of course, but we make very little mistakes on offense. Cade McNamara, while he hasn't been like shockingly like amazing, he's not CJ Stroud. I understand that he doesn't have the athleticism of CJ Stroud. He's just not it. He's not an amazing player by any stretch of the imagination, but he is a game manager. He makes very little mistakes, and he wins us the game. Or at least, if he's not winning us the game, he's not losing the game for us. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't make it to 10-1 with a bad quarterback. You know, Cade McNamara is a very good quarterback. Not great, not amazing, but he's not bad. He's good. Will that be enough to beat Ohio State? I don't think it will. You know, we'll see what happens, but this is a game where Michigan is going to have to execute everything very well. Offense is going to have to make minimal mistakes, because I'll be honest with you, margin for error in this game is very, very small. When you make big mistakes against Penn State or Maryland or Indiana, you can get away with it. When you make mistakes against a 2-9 Indiana team, or a 3-8 Northwestern team, or a 5-5 Maryland team, yes, you can get away with that and still run away with a 10, 17, 24, 38-point win, or however many points we won by. I think we beat Maryland by 41. I mean, we made a lot of mistakes in that game. We still won by 41. We make those same mistakes, Ohio State is going to take advantage. They're just not the team that's going to not take advantage of those mistakes we make. The mistakes that Maryland made Maryland made a ton of mistakes against us. Penalties all over the place, overthrown balls, missed opportunities after missed opportunities. If I'm a Maryland fan, I'm very frustrated with the team. Michigan got very lucky because there were plays where they were ahead of us, but they couldn't execute. And, we took advantage because we're a better team than they are. Obviously, we're a much better team than they are. Regardless of the amount of mistakes that they made, they could have played they could have, not made those mistakes. We still probably would have won by 20 or so points. But what I'm saying is, those mistakes that Michigan made, and those mistakes that Michigan has been making every week for the whole season, we can't do those against Ohio State. Ohio State is not a team that you take lightly. Never take a team like Ohio State lightly. They're a very, very good football team, a great football team. Their offense is number 1 in scoring. CJ Stroud, in my opinion, should win the Heisman Trophy by the way he's been playing. I mean, they had a 49-0 lead over Michigan State at halftime. 6 touchdown passes by CJ Stroud at halftime. That is unreal against a top 10 team. We'll see how we respond with that. We'll see how much better we play if we can execute a lot better than Michigan State did. Because Michigan State, even though, Ohio State played pretty much a perfect game against them, Michigan State made a lot of mistakes. We have to learn from Michigan State's mistakes and make sure we don't make the same mistakes they did or every other team did when they play them. if we're on defense and CJ Stroud makes some questionable throw, we need to take advantage and pick that ball off. If CJ Stroud is in the backfield, we need to rush him. We need to put pressure on the man. We all know that he is very good at stepping up in the pocket and making a throw. We need to put the pressure on him all game. We need to make him scared. Get a few hits on him. Make him feel less confident in his throws. And then the offense has to also execute plays. No dropped balls, no fumbles, no interceptions. You can't do any of that. Any of it. You can't get away with it. You can't do it. No field goals. We have to score touchdowns. We cannot afford field goals because a team like Ohio State will take advantage of our missed opportunities at touchdowns. Field goals are not an option in this game. Not an option. Ohio State is not a team that you can beat by getting field goals on every drive. They will score in this game. They definitely will score. Probably quite a bit of points. If Kenneth Walker put up 37 on us pretty much by himself, he scored pretty much all their points for them. He had 35, or if you want to count the extra point, 35 of their 37 points. I don't know what to tell you. That's the reality of the situation. Now, I don't think Ohio State has a guy like Kenneth Walker at running back, but they have running backs who are probably faster. They don't have the moves that Kenneth Walker can make, but they have speed, and they're very good football players, and they've got a much better offensive line than Michigan State. They've got a much better defense than Michigan State, and it's going to be a much harder game than Michigan State, and we lost to Michigan State because of the amount of mistakes we made. And we just can't make those mistakes. We just can't afford to do that. If Michigan wants to win this game, if we want to win this game, we have to play a perfect game. No less. Have to play a perfect game. You don't play a perfect game, you're not winning this game. If you don't score touchdowns when you're supposed to make touchdowns, you're not going to win this game. If you don't make catches, if you don't take advantage of bad plays from Ohio State's offense, you're not going to win this game. If you drop the ball, if you fumble, if you throw picks, if you allow big plays, because Ohio State's good at that. They are very good at making big-time plays. If you can't limit that, that's an issue. That's an issue. It's going to be a long day for us if we can't do those things. Now, I made a joke earlier today with some family that, they were like, well, what do you think the final score is going to be? And I jokingly said 84-3. We're going to score 3 points, take a 3-0 lead, and then they'll score 84, and I answered. Which I don't think it's going to be that way, but if we don't execute the way we should, and we play a really bad game, that could be it. That could happen. Last year I said they were going to beat us 100-0 if we played them in 2020. We never ended up playing them. But Michigan is a much better team than last year, so thank goodness we didn't play them last year. It would have been a disaster of epic proportions. It would have been a blowout of epic proportions. Could have permanently scarred Michigan's recruiting, permanently scarred Jim Harbaugh's career, head coach at Michigan. It could have ruined everything for Michigan, and COVID ended up saving us from disaster. But COVID isn't saving us this year. We can't rely on COVID to cancel this game. And I don't want this game to be canceled anyway. That would be really disappointing. But we have no excuses this time. No excuses. We should have Ronnie Bell back. We will have all of our playmakers on offense for the most part. There's some injuries on the offensive line, but it should be fine. We've got our defensive playmakers, Ojabo, Hutchinson, have 10 sacks each on the year, which is tied. They're both tied for first in the Big Ten in sacks. 2 Michigan guys are in first place in the Big Ten. That's crazy to me. Both of those guys are superstars. They're going to go to the NFL and make it huge. I can't wait to see where they go from Michigan into the NFL. We know that they're going to be big-time guys in the NFL, or at least I hope they are. But we have the playmakers. We have the defense. We have the speed. Can we keep up with Ohio State's wide receiver group? I don't know. Can we keep up with them? I don't know. Are our guys fast enough? Hopefully. We don't know. We will see on Saturday. I'm going to watch the game. I don't want to watch the game, but I'm going to watch the game because I'm a Michigan fan and I got to support my team. As much as I'm dreading this game because I really don't think we're going to win this game, and I'm not trying to be negative, I'm just trying to be realistic. We've lost the last 8 times in a row. If we would have played them last year, it definitely would have been 9 by now. We're coming, if we don't win this year, it's 10 years, bro. 10 years. We haven't beaten them in almost 10 years. That's crazy to me. I was in 3rd grade the last time Michigan beat Ohio State in football, and now I'm almost 20 years old. It's sad to see. I started watching Michigan football in 2009. I know, I'm only 19. I started watching them in 2009, and I've only seen one Ohio State win. It was 2011. Every year before and after that I've watched, we have lost. Every game I can remember other than that game, we have lost, either by a significant margin or a close one. And I just hope that that's not the case this year. I hope if we don't win, we don't get blown out, because it's just like, man, we can't afford to get blown out anymore. Now, other people will make the excuse like, well, Ohio State, let's say, for example, Michigan is a very good Big Ten team. They can, for the most part, beat all these Big Ten teams. You could have argued Michigan is a better team than Michigan State. That if they would have played better in that game, they would have won this game, and they'd be going into this game against Ohio State 11-0. Very possible. That could have happened. Absolutely could have happened. You could have also argued Ohio State, if they looked like how they did now, in week 2, they would have destroyed Oregon, and both teams would be 11-0, probably at 2-3 or 1-2 1 or 2 or something like that. I mean, you can't make an argument that they wouldn't be up there, at least in the top 5 for weeks now. But that's not how it happened. But they very much could have happened that way. Just things didn't work out for Ohio State in week 2 and Michigan in week 8, or I think it was week 8. I don't remember. It just didn't happen. So both teams are 10-1, but both have a very good chance of making it far. This is for all the marbles. The winner of this game clinches the Big Ten East, is going to the Big Ten Championship, likely against Wisconsin. We already know we can beat Wisconsin. We beat them already. And people can argue, oh, they're a different team now. They're a lot better than they looked then. You can argue that, but they had a close one with Nebraska. They haven't played perfect football. They've been kind of wishy-washy. And we beat them 38-17 when we played them, and we made it look easy. If we can beat Ohio State, we can beat Wisconsin easily. Wisconsin's nowhere near the level of Ohio State, and they're nowhere near the level of Michigan. They're just not. Just go back to week 6 or whatever week it was when we played them. We destroyed Wisconsin. We're a better team than them. And if we can win against Ohio State, that'll open a lot of doors for Michigan. We'll go to the Big Ten Championship.
we'll win. We would definitely win the Big Ten championship because I think Michigan is better than every team in the West. Every single one. We would be at the top of the West by far. We would have already clinched the West if we're in the West. But we're not in the West, so we have to win this game against Ohio State. We cannot afford to lose this game to Ohio State. And neither can Ohio State. They can't afford to lose this one either. Because whoever loses this game has 2 losses on the season, and our season is over in terms of a conference title game and a playoff berth. So that's the situation there. But yeah, if we can win this game somehow, it's gonna open up a lot of doors for Michigan. We'll go to the Big Ten championship. We'll likely win that game, and we'll be in the playoffs. And I'm not saying if we make it to the playoffs, we do all that, we make it to the playoffs, we're gonna win the playoffs. We're gonna beat Georgia in the national title game. I'm not saying that, but it could happen. If we can beat Ohio State, I think we can beat Georgia. I don't think Georgia is by far and away the best team in college football, but I think at least Ohio State is pretty close to them. And if we beat them, well, then we're pretty close to them too. So, beating Ohio State, of course. So, we're really close. We control our own destiny. We just have to finish the season strong. But Jim Harbaugh, that has been a struggle for him. Not finishing the season strong. We'll start a season with mostly wins, maybe have a loss here or there. The last 3 or 4 weeks will come along and we'll lose 3 out of the last 4 or 2 out of the last 3 or whatever. And ruin our chances at making it really far. You got to understand, in college football, you can't afford to lose games. Can't afford it ever. You have to win all your games, especially if you're a team who plays weaker opponents. Look at Cincinnati, for example. They have looked really good all season long. They're undefeated right now. They've got 1 game left. They've already made it to their conference title game. They're probably going to win that game by a lot if they keep playing the way they're playing or the way they have been playing when they played SMU, a team who's 8-2. SMU is a very good football team, and Cincinnati made them look like the redheaded stepchild. I mean, Cincinnati's a great team, and now, just now, right before the final week of football, are we finally going to see them in that top 4 spot? At least likely. I mean, for whatever reason, they could argue Michigan has better wins and put us ahead. I don't think they should. I think Cincinnati deserves the 4th spot. Put them there, please. Michigan. If Michigan wins against Ohio State, then you put Michigan in the 4th spot or 3rd spot or wherever you want to put them. But yeah, if Michigan wins this game against Ohio State, we absolutely deserve a top 4 seed. We will go to the Big Ten championship, likely win that game, and if we win that game, we're a top 2 team. Simple as that. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. How do you think Michigan will do against Ohio State? Will it be a blowout again? Will we make it interesting? Will we win? We will see. We will see. I personally don't think so. I don't think we will. I think it'll be a situation where we play really, really hard, but we just make too many mistakes. I think we minimize our mistakes by a lot. I think we make very little mistakes in this game, but it still won't be enough. They were just too high powered. They'll make a big play here and there, and they'll just kind of run away with it, coast to the end, showing how much better that they really are than over pretty much everybody. Like I said, Michigan's a great Big Ten team, but in terms of the best teams in college football, I don't know if it's really close. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching, and my next video will be my reaction to the game after it's over. So yeah, thanks for watching.